Here we fucking go! You're listening to Bread and Circuses.
It's like the mob media, for one, is the entire world populated. Like, everybody's on Twitter. Fucking the UK is on Twitter. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
unfortunately.
With Caleb Salvatore.
Well, they can't go to the comedy shows because there's a 2-drink minimum, and you can't mix the Percocet you've been stealing from work with liquor.
And Nick Kohler.
There literally be people in the fucking 80s that didn't know that nutting in a girl would make her pregnant.
No one's asked that question. What did those families do to provoke Alex Jones like that?
You know what'll solve all of these racial police protests? A Pepsi.
What the fuck is up, friends? Welcome to Bread and Circuses. I'm Caleb Salvatore, one of your hosts, and we have an announcement to make. We have reached out to the folks at Spotify and let them know that if they don't remove Creed's music from their platform, we will be asking them to take our podcast off. We just feel it's not responsible to tell people that 6 feet ain't so far down, and we think it's a risk to public health. So we have asked them to please remove Creed's music, or we will or take our content off of Spotify. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome. This is Bread and Circuses. We're here with your guest, Neil Young, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Neil Young. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Neil Young.
How did he think that was going to end, the Neil Young thing? That's what I want to know.
You know what's funny is most fucking young people don't even know who the fuck Neil Young is, dude.
So I had heard of him. I'd heard the name, but I had to like look him up, and I'm like, oh, I know that song. It's one of those guys. It's not like the Beatles. You know what I mean? It's like you look him up.
I only know Neil Young. Oh, excuse me. I only know Neil Young because I'm very familiar with dad rock, because my dad is obviously a big fan of dad rock.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I worked like fresh out of high school. Everyone else, I worked at a car dealership, and they always had that going. They always had like old school, like 60s, 70s rock going, and a couple of his songs they would play on repeat. So I'm like, oh, I've heard this song. I didn't know any of his music. I had to look it up. I truly didn't know. Like, of course they're going to go with the most popular podcast on earth over fucking Neil Young. Like, what do you think is going to happen? They told Jay-Z to pound sand. Do you think Neil Young is going to fucking have any kind of effect on it?
I don't remember if Jay-Z said anything about.
No, it wasn't on the Rogan thing. Jay-Z wanted some like significant deal because he has his Tidal service, and he's back on Spotify now. But this was way before Spotify. This was back when it was still like the 4-way battle of all the streaming services. Jay-Z said, I want whatever deal to keep my music here. Otherwise, I'm going exclusively to Tidal. And Spotify basically said, go fuck yourself. Like, we're not going to do that. You can leave. And he's back now. That was the deal initially. So, but yeah, they told Jay-Z to fuck himself. Garth Brooks doesn't have his music on there. I think they're going to side with Joe Rogan over Neil Young. Like,
there's no way they give a fuck about the dad rock. Dude, all the people that listen to that shit have it on like CD
or vinyl.
Bro, you need to understand the fucking target demographic of the company that you work for, bro. Like,
part of me almost wonders, was this a publicity stunt? Because like you said, most young people had never heard of Neil Young, or if they had, they didn't know any of his music. Now they're looking him up on YouTube or wherever he's available, and they may not like it, but they're spinning his music.
You know what I think it is I think there's somebody with a minor reputable name said something bad about fucking Joe Rogan, and all the news media sources fucking ran with it because they will just publish any kind of fucking propaganda shit to slur Joe Rogan because he goes against their narratives and takes viewers away from them and makes them look like fucking idiots all the time. So
absolutely. Well, have you seen the fucking the Nielsen ratings?
No,
came out for Q3 of 21.
No, but I can guarantee you I know exactly how they fucking win.
I'll show you. Here we go. We're doing the share screen thing here. We're doing this as a learning experience, everyone. Ah, shit.
Yeah, look at the top. When you type in Neil Young Spotify, the top fucking news sources: The Washington Post, The New York Times, Rolling Stones.
So Here is the Nielsen ratings for Q3 of 2021.
Yeah,
these
exactly.
are viewers in the millions. All right.
So oh my God, Tucker Carlson is the fucking second highest.
Joe Rogan, average viewers per show is 11 million, right? Oh shit. Tucker Carlson is the next closest. So what is that? 3.24. Yeah. The Five, which is another Fox show. Then Hannity, Fox Primetime, The Ingram Angle.
Dude, CNN is just lower than Primetime. CNN and MSNBC are both like half of Rachel Maddow.
Dude, so here's check this out. So Tucker Carlson, you take the top shows from the three major news networks. Tucker Carlson, so that's 3.24. Rachel Maddow, so
what's that's the five?
You're at 554, and then CNN Primetime, which isn't even at 1 million. So
what's the five? Is that The View?
That's one of the Fox shows.
Oh, okay.
So you take those, and fucking Rogan is still almost twice as high as all three of the top shows from the three major networks combined. That's fucking crazy.
I'm not surprised at all, man. And this writing has been on the wall about this shit for fucking 5-6 years now, dude.
Yeah.
Like people, anybody that pays attention to like anything going on in the US, if you ask them, what do you think the kind of is the trend with media? Is it's going away from the traditional big time networks and it's going on to online and podcasts and small content creators online. Like it's anybody who's anybody knows that
for sure. And it's, and there's this big when the media's got such a concerted effort to cancel one show, you have to ask why. And you see those numbers, and that's why. I mean, that it's very clear he's beating them. That's why there's such a concerted effort.
Most of those legacy media networks are kind of like owned under the same umbrella of companies. Like
it's the same companies. Do you think like the owner? I'm pretty sure Fox News is owned by the same company that owns like either CNN or MSNBC, CBS, one of them. And it's just
be surprised.
I mean, it's the same people. It's the puppet masters. These people that own these companies, and we're not.
I'd be surprised. Let's look at 2021 New York Times fucking subscriptions. I think that's public information.
Probably. I'm sure they have to release numbers.
New York. Yeah, probably because it's a public company, right? Is it? I would imagine.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Let's look it up. Subscription. I can't type
once we get on StreamYard, guys, it'll be so much easier because I'm just gonna be able to like pull it up and share it on a different
number of subscribers in the thousands, right? Q1 of 2021, 5,257. They've actually been increasing their subscriptions lately.
I wonder why that is.
It's been going up pretty consistently over the past years. You know what it must be? It's because they've kind of switched to doing most of their. I think they've started to switch their stuff to online.
Yeah. So my guess is you're seeing those go up because you've got a lot of people that were at one point newspaper subscribers that have made the transition to online.
And you know what too? Also, I bet you that like fucking Amazon links like Amazon's or Amazon links like New York Times subscription into like a fucking Prime like membership or some shit,
something like that. You know what they should do? What these like news companies should do? They're complaining about not getting paid. What they should do is, you click an article and you want to read it, and it's like, oh, pay $6 for the monthly subscription to finish this article. What they should do is, instead of doing that, they should give you that option, but give you the option to pay like 42 cents to read the article. Like you can subscribe or pay 42 cents for this individual article. Because I would do that. I feel like a lot of people would do that because there's
some places that'll do that.
Yeah, because like I want to read the article, but I don't necessarily want to subscribe to what The Athletic or whatever paper out there that I'm reading.
When it comes to news, dude, honestly, like I don't need to read some, like if it asks me to like for money for an article, I just will.
Well, you can find it free somewhere else.
Exactly. And it's
if it's relevant news.
If you're reading relevant, any kind of news, dude, any kind of news, because the amount of media that's out there right now, anything that's worth knowing can be found out some way or another.
The only
you don't need, what's that?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say the only if you're gonna be subscribing to any kind of fucking website or like Forbes or anything like that, it's going to be because like
Opinion
they're
pieces.
quoting some kind of scientific research, which you can find the scientific research.
Mhm.
I would rather just buy that.
Yeah.
And you're getting like this fucking filtered bullshit opinions about what's going on with the news. It's like the way they say it
Right.
is like opinionated, and it's just like it's horseshit.
Well,
you know what I mean?
So in the times I'm thinking of, if there have been times I've been reading like sports articles.
I was gonna say
And
sports is
I would
probably
pay
the
for
only
that.
thing that I can keep pure, because like at least if somebody is giving an opinion about sports,
Yeah.
like sports isn't that important. Or if
It's not
somebody's
the end of the world.
if I'm hearing Skip Bayless talk about how LeBron is the worst basketball player of the last 2 decades, you know
Right.
what I mean? I
Yeah.
can easily be like, oh, that guy's a dumbass.
It
But,
does,
you know,
I mean, it's at the end of the day, what's going on with Patrick Mahomes isn't going to affect the world economy on that large.
Yeah.
Scale, you know what I mean?
they're
It's
not
just-
trying to spin the war like America
They're-
into a war with
Yeah,
Iran.
no, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Is I mean, the NFL, it might piss you off, it might make people beat their spouses and shit, but it's not going
Break
to
their
lie us into.
TVs.
Yeah, it's not going to lie about weapons of mass destruction and get us into a war that we have no
Exactly.
business being in. So
you imagine if the NFL was like that, dude?
Oh God.
They're like in the halftime, they were playing like news reels of like fake newsreels about like fucking Iran having like weapons on the border of some shit like that.
Give it time, man. That's coming. It's coming up.
God,
Don't worry. It's coming. That's fucking ridiculous. So I don't know. Did you see the video of Matt Walsh on Dr. Phil?
No.
Oh my God. So do you know who that is?
No, I don't know who Matt Walsh is. I know who Dr. Phil is.
So yeah, well, yes. So Matt Walsh is, let me see if I can find the video and play it. So it's not someone else's spin on it. Matt Walsh is an author, and he wrote this book called Sammy the Walrus, right? And what it's about is it's this kid that thinks he's a wall. Have you heard of it?
Mm-mm.
It's this kid that he pretends to be a walrus at school, and the mom goes online and reads about if you don't actually believe your kid is a walrus, then you're a bigot. And she starts like actually treating her kid as a walrus. It's about the parents that like the boy wants to play with the dollhouse, and they decide, oh, we're going to raise him as a girl
commentary.
now.
It's a commentary
Yes.
on parents raising their kids.
Precisely. That's exactly what it is. So it's that. And then I'm going to see if I can pull it up here, because they had this Matt Walsh guy on there. And he had a debate with these non-binary transgender activists, right? And they're TikTokers. And you can tell that the people in this video have never been questioned before.
Yeah.
Like they were expecting to go. They even made a post about it on Instagram before the episode went out. The person, I don't know, posted about, this wasn't what we were expecting it was. We thought it would be a free, Dr. Phil lied to us. We thought it would be a safe space. So basically what they wanted nobody there to question them. And they wanted
space safe is just a fancy word for circle jerk.
Exactly. They wanted no one there to question them. They wanted, where is it? It's like YouTube has like fucking shadow banned this video. That's fucking, it's on Dr. Phil. Like,
probably.
It's like it was on the front. Oh shit. Now it's gone. But no, it used to be
gone now.
It's not gone. I just don't know when it's. Let me see.
You watched it. Check your YouTube history.
Yeah, oh shit, that's the wrong one. But no, the person posted in their Instagram story about how, and I'm only saying they because I truly don't know you'll understand once I pull the video up. I'm only saying they. Let's see here. I'm only saying they because when you see the video, you'll truly know why.
Were they kids in the video, or like
no? They were adults. They were adults, but their whole thing was about transgender kids. So that's where the big issue was lying. I'm gonna go on my phone and email it to myself because it is in my history. but YouTube has completely blocked this video from showing up anywhere else, and that's not surprising at all. So that's what we'll do. So the guy posts, sorry, I was trailed off there, but the guy posts on his Instagram about how, see, I already misgendered him. There we go. Now we can watch it. The guy posts on his Instagram about how they were ambushed. They didn't expect anyone was going to come on there with an opposing viewpoint. And it just shows like they are all about preaching this narrative as long as they don't have anyone there on the other side, as long as it's a fucking echo chamber and no one is there to question it. So I'll pull it up.
I want to give it this example. Oh man, I'm looking at the New York Times article right now. I still had it pulled up from the New York Times or from the Joe Rogan thing.
Yeah.
This is an example of how you're misled through this material, right? It says the singer decided to leave the streaming service because it gives a platform to Joe Rogan, and then comma, whom scientists have accused of promoting falsehoods about coronavirus vaccines, which dude, like who the fuck are scientists?
Right. Who are the scientists?
I mean? Imagine if like every New York Times article was like New York Times, who critics have fucking criticized for spreading false information.
It's like you always say, who's they? Because
you saw
that letter that all the doctors signed asking Spotify to deplatform Rogan. Well, it turned out over half of them had nothing to do with medicine. It was chiropractors. It was people with doctorates in English. Like, it had nothing to do with medicine. And they labeled it as 250 doctors. I'm like, okay, but like 3 of them are MDs, you know?
Exactly, dude.
It's just asinine.
And of course, the English doctorates, the fucking they, them, theirs types are the ones. Those are the they, them, theirs types that are the ones that are not wanting Joe Rogan to have a fucking platform, dude.
Precisely.
Like,
all right, so here's the video. I'll pull it up for you here. I got it. We'll post this in the link because I was trailing off trying to look for this video. I should have been more prepared, but YouTube has literally, you cannot find it. It's Dr. Phil. It's not some fucking obscure channel like alt-right type thing. It's Dr. fucking Phil. You cannot see on YouTube anymore. So, or at least just this one video that has like 13 million views. And that was part of the other thing, was it was attacked by trans activists. Facebook was attacked for not removing the video. So for even Facebook was attacked for letting anyone have a different opinion.
The woke religion, space. Man. It's, you know,
it's odd. So here's the video.
It's the same as the soccer moms wanting Doom pulled off of the internet and shit, man.
Exactly. No, that's exactly where we're at. So here's a video.
Oh, you know what? I saw a screenshot or something of this.
Yeah. So these two are TikTok. They're TikTok activists, right? Which is not a real job. Just
TikTok
like being
activist, as in,
So they go around.
That's the activist equivalent of standing in front of fucking Walmart with a sign. That's about it.
What they were expecting was Dr. Phil to have them on and just throw softball questions and get a big round of applause from the audience, and everyone would just walk away and, oh, okay. But, you know, in the real world, there are opposing viewpoints. And I'm sorry, this is an unsettled issue, especially when it affects children to the degree that it does. So here's the video.
Assign a sex at birth.
You hear it?
And when we grow up, you know, when there's a mismatch of how we view ourselves and how society views us, then we can choose to, you know, either medically transition.
We live in a society.
Or just socially transition, or both.
My name is Matt Walsh, and I've written a book called Johnny the Walrus. This book is about identity and imagination. He identifies as a walrus, and his mom's a little silly. She takes it seriously and thinks he really is a walrus. So she went on her phone, and there are people telling her that this isn't pretend, he's really a walrus. And his mother takes him to the doctor to have him surgically transitioned and gets him walrus hormone pills, and then eventually tries to drop him off at a zoo to live with other walruses. Not only topping the Amazon charts, my book has taken the world by storm.
You're saying that there should be no construct of gender, just sex. You're either male or female.
Right.
And someone feeling in a mental, emotional way that they don't identify with the sex that they have been biologically created as and assigned at birth based on their genitalia. If they don't feel that way, that there's no construct that describes that, experiences that.
Well, that's got nothing to do with the reality. So you can feel however you want. I mean, I could sit here and say that I feel like a tomato plant, but that doesn't mean that I actually am those things. So your self-perception, you can have whatever self-perception you want, but you can't expect me to take part in that self-perception or to take part in this kind of charade, this theatrical production. You don't get your own pronouns, just like you don't get your own prepositions or your own adjectives. You know, it's like if I were to tell you, my adjectives are handsome and brilliant. And no matter, whenever you're talking about me, you have to describe me as handsome and brilliant because that's how I identify. Makes no sense. You don't get your own pronouns. That's grammar, that's language.
So you think it's a delusion? Someone is self-delusional?
Yeah, I think it's delusion. It could be mental illness. It could be, it's a lot of different things. With children, wow. You know, there's also...
He called them mentally ill to their faces.
Doesn't the American Psychological Association classify gender dysmorphia as a mental illness?
I'm sure it does, but like it's so you can tell that like they've never been questioned. They sit on their TikTok sphere all day, and it's a one-sided argument and a giant circle jerk echo chamber. And like my thing is like the best comparison I can make to it. I'm a comedian, right? I have experienced hundreds of people who think they're funny that are unequivocally not funny. I have never seen an audience laugh at the jokes they tell, but they think they're funny. Now, I'm not going to be a dickhead and constantly go remind these people that they're not funny, right? I'm not going to go out of my way and be like, hey, you're not funny, you know? But if they start talking to me about how they just murdered that room when I was sitting there and watched crickets in the audience for 8 minutes, I'm going to say, dude, no, you didn't. You're not funny. You see what
the most reaction they got was some people going,
Yeah, they get that awkward. Yeah, that's the best, because I'd be a dick if I. It's the same thing with a transgender person or what is it, non-binary person. If you constantly walked up to someone that was non-binary, it's like, hey, there's only 2 fucking genders, you piece of shit, and just went out of your way to say that. That would be a dickhead thing to do. I think most people can agree on that.
I would be uncomfortable around somebody doing that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be around someone. I'd probably tell someone to fuck off if they were doing that. And my skin in this game. That's not my thing. But like at the same time, if you're constantly going to be throwing it in my face or other people's faces, I'm going to be like, okay, come on. Let's pump the brakes here. You're not funny. Nobody laughed at you in that room. You know what I mean? So it goes on. Here, well.
Just a basic confusion that all kids have. Like that's why when you hear a parent say, "Oh, my 4-year-old son came to me and said that I'm a girl now, and so that's what I'm gonna raise him as a girl." No, you're a 4-year-old. I have 4 kids. When a 4-year-old boy comes to you and says, "Oh, I'm a girl," here's a good follow-up question. What is a girl? Ask him what he means by that. What do you mean by girl? And when you ask him that, here's what he'll tell you. He will tell you what he really means is that he wants to do some of the things that girls do, like play with the dollhouse, or he likes the color pink. That's fine. Play with the dollhouse, but you're still a boy. And that's a question I would like to throw out to other members of the panel. Actually, because just like the 4-year-old can't answer what is a girl, well, this is one of the problems with this left-wing gender ideology is that no one who espouses it can even tell you what these words mean. It's like, what is a woman? Well, can you tell me what a woman is?
No, I can't. Because it's not for me to say. Womanhood looks different.
What do you mean it's not for you to say? You're the gender activist, you fucking idiot. It's literally for you to say. This is your platform to say your ideas.
Okay, let's talk about this dude, right? This person right here, because I don't know, man, female, I don't know. There is not a rational soul on this earth that looks at this person and goes, you know what? I feel like that guy has some really reasonable points. I'd like to hear him elaborate further. Like there's no one.
Imagine this dude just starts spouting off about the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Shit, dude. Like,
there's
one of those guys.
No one on earth. It's like, you know what? This is a stable individual who's really got their shit together that I would love to sit down and watch a lecture from. I'd love to hear them talk for 4 hours. I'd love for them to teach my kid. not a rational soul on earth believes
I
that.
imagine that the other person there is a transgender male, like a woman that's transitioned into a man. I'm guessing, right? That's what she sounds like, or what he sounds like.
Hispanic guy looks more realistic. Like that's like I could actually buy.
Hispanic
You know what I
guy, it looks like a transgender man,
right?
like a girl that is just transitioned into a man.
Yeah, that guy I can actually buy. And I want to make this clear. There are legitimately transgender people out there. There are men who feel they are a woman and they go ahead and get the surgery, and that's a legitimate thing.
A lot of transgender people don't even get the surgery, dude.
Yeah.
It's just fine. Like,
well, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
But like, that's fine. Those are consenting adults. They say, hey, I felt like a woman my whole fucking life. I want to get, that's fine. Do whatever you want. But when we talk about when we create 72 genders and we push it on kids, and
like this fucking guy here,
I just say, hey, I'm non-binary now. You have it. Claiming yourself as non-binary is the fastest way to get approval and applause from people when you didn't actually do anything.
It's the fastest. You know what it is? It's the fastest way to get a small group of people that they hang around to be all like, oh yeah, and then the rest of like the rational people in the world that just completely like not pay attention to anything you're about to do or say, because you're like challenging this like such a base like thing in any kind of society that like it'd be like me being like, oh, gravity's not a real thing.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Gravity's not real, bro. It's just not fucking real. It's a social concept that we all stay on the planet and that we don't just float up into the air.
It's a social concept.
We do that because everybody believes that we do that, and that's why.
Nick has officially joined the non-gravity movement.
Yeah. Watch me just like start a non-gravity, like a gravity is fake movement.
You could, you'd probably get some idiots on TikTok.
Well, you know what's funny is like I know that a lot of these gender activists don't even agree on like what they fucking like what their principles are.
No,
but the people that are like, I'm gonna guess that the other person is like that because they seem a little bit more like rational than this person. Right. Like if you're transgender, it still doesn't take away from the fact that there's two genders.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
They'll concede that yes, I was born as a man and I'm I am a male, but I identify as a woman. It's like, oh, that's fine.
And that's exactly it. Is when we talk about there's two different groups. We're not talking about legitimate transgender people that say, hey, I'm a man, but I feel like a woman. That's not who we're talking about.
Like
we're talking about
want to be a woman. Like if you want people to call you a girl and like if you're respectable about it,
I'd have no problem doing that.
Yeah, dude. Like hardly anybody I think at our age would have a problem. I mean,
no,
like, dude, there's people out there that are gonna have problems with it. I'll concede that.
Sure, yeah.
But
there's
like,
assholes
dude,
out there.
we don't listen to those people.
There's people out there that
fucking dickheads.
There's people out there that if you dig hard enough, you probably find people that still support Jim Crow. Just because someone's a retard doesn't mean we should listen to him. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that goes for the fucking people that are on the screen right now. Just because someone's a retard doesn't mean we should listen to him.
The other person, the only other thing that this other person has said, not this fucking guy,
trans Jesus.
Yeah, the other person there, the other guy is just said what it's like to be transgender, and that's fucking fine, dude.
Mm-hmm. No, like, that's what I'm fine with. It's my issue lies when we just start making things up and we have the zemzers and the they thems and the there are as many genders as I want there. No, they aren't.
Because you know what happens if you would en masse make it like make that normal, like, oh, your kid is like wants to play with dolls, I'm gonna raise him as a fucking girl now. Which there's people out there, the people out there that will try to be like, oh, that's not a thing. People don't do that. You know what I mean? You need to concede the fact that there are people out there that do that.
And there's a lady that they go to, because I watched the full episode and I won't show it here, but there's a lady that they go to that she's raising a baby. She had a baby and she's raising this baby. The baby was genetically a boy, but she named it Sparrow. And she's raising it to be non-binary.
No, him. It's a baby. It's a boy.
Him. Well, to clarify, I call all babies it because they don't talk to me. I don't look at it as a person. So whatever. Yes, him. So she's raising him as non-binary and says he or they can make his decision whenever he wants to. And I'm like, your child doesn't even have a chance. You're fucking
Your child
your
is
kid
gonna be
is
severely depressed when
your
they're
kid
older
has
and,
like
probably cut themselves, dude. Like
and this is
that's
like
what you're
a
raising.
upper middle class white woman. She's like a college professor, of course.
Yeah.
And,
And so this is my thing is like people need to concede that there are people that are out there that are like that. And yes, it's not common. You're not going to see it a whole lot.
no,
But we need to treat it like it's what it is. Like it's
Yeah.
a fucking
Oh, it's-
idiotic scourge on society.
You're breaking your kid's leg before they run a fucking marathon.
Exactly,
You know what
dude.
that child has less of a chance than someone born to a single mother with 8 siblings on welfare. That kid has less of a chance to get along in society.
He's gonna be more likely to kill himself.
Absolutely. It'd have
Like you are, why would you put that on a child? That's something that's like statistically proven.
Why would you make psychiatrist bills a monthly expense for your kid,
dude?
You know what I mean?
You know what? If your kid is like hits puberty and is starting, you know what I mean? Like at 13, 14, and you know, you're kind of starting to humor it. By the time they're like 17, 18, they're still kind of serious about it. Maybe, you know what I mean? But that's a lot more of a discussion we can have than a fucking 5-year-old,
infant, a baby.
An infant. Yeah, you do. Like this is my thing is like people need to like know that stuff exists and challenge it, because if that was the social norm, dude, our entire society would collapse.
Right. Well, and you know, at the end of the day, if someone wants to go out as and say they're non-binary and they're, you know, there's the Zemzer or whatever, at the end of the day, you are correct. No, that doesn't affect me. Am I going to have an opinion on it? Yes.
It affects me if that person is fucking around me.
Oh yeah, that too. Well, but am I going to have an opinion on it if it's brought up to me? Absolutely. The same way I'd have an opinion on anything else someone said that was incorrect. You know, if someone came up to me and they're like, "Hey, Caleb, did you know that 8 times 7 is 39?"
I would say,
"No, it's not."
Did you know that there's no differentiation between the types of animals? Like there's no reptiles, mammals.
Yeah, do you know
everything is just one.
A dog is the same as a shark,
soul.
man. You didn't know that? Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't know that? Like everything is just the same thing, dude. There's no genus in animals. That's a social construct.
Yeah.
Animals are animals. Okay.
Right. If someone said something like that to me, I would be like, no, that's not true.
Yeah,
you are
like,
wrong.
That's not how this is not how the world works.
It's just back to the comedy comparison. I'm not going to constantly remind that person they're wrong. I'm not going to constantly remind the bad comics they're not funny. That's a dickhead thing to do. But when you bring it up around me, and you try to tell other people around me, I'm going to say,
I think is where it comes to more important, right? That same comic comes to you and asks you, "Hey, Caleb, can you put me on a show?"
Yeah, no, there you go. Yeah.
What are you gonna tell? Because that's a very realistic thing. And Caleb, why aren't the bookers putting me on shows, Caleb? But like, I'm killing it. Every time I go out there and open mics, I'm killing it, dude.
That's exactly it. That's exactly why won't the bookers put me on shows? Why won't the
realistic situation.
Why won't the DMV put whatever gender I am today on the driver's license? It's the same thing.
You know what's funny is most DMVs will do that too. Like your fucking driver's license. Like,
they don't fucking care.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit.
They'll put male or female, but they won't put non-binary. They won't put X,
which is good. They fucking
will.
Shouldn't.
But no, they should. It's not a real thing. There are very few people that are born intersex. For those people, I can understand making the exemption. But we're not. If you want to play pretend, not everyone else has to. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like there are schizophrenic people out there that think they're the fucking president. That doesn't mean we all play along with it.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, the current president has dementia, and we play along with that. But that's,
when you see those websites that ask you for your gender, and then it gives you like 100 options.
Yeah.
It literally it reminds me of that quote from The Incredibles, dude, where it's like, where everybody's special, nobody is. It's like, why, if you're gonna have 100 options on there, why even have it? Just don't put it on there.
It's special.
If something is like literally not like, so there's certain things where your actual like biological gender are very important, like medical doctor appointments.
Yeah,
it's very fucking important. Sports, very important.
Yeah,
like a social media platform, dude.
Yeah.
Like what you identify as, like, it doesn't fucking matter, dude. Like a dating website too. I would think that would be important. But like, if you're gonna have you don't get to put 100 options on there. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, no, it's not an option, and that's where the problem comes. And it's, I don't know. Here, I'll play the rest of it.
Yeah, let's watch the rest.
Yeah.
An adult human female.
And what does a female mean?
Well, that's
how do you define a
someone with female reproductive organs.
Okay.
Someone who's, here's the thing, when you're female, it goes right down to your bones, your DNA. So that's why if someone dies,
Okay.
we could dig up their bones 100 years from now. We have no idea what they believed in their head, but we can tell what sex they were because it's ingrained in every fiber of their being.
Interesting. So I'm trying to understand. Your definition is that a woman is someone who is female, you said, right?
Correct.
Gotcha.
Is a biological female.
So what happens if we have maybe someone who is female, identifies as a woman, right? You know, cisgender woman, right? As you just explained, maybe doesn't have the ability to reproduce.
So to pause and comment on that, they would still have female sex organs.
They would
At that point, you're nitpicking.
They would still have XX chromosomes.
He knows.
dude.
He knows what he means. He's nitpicking words. He should have said sex organs. He said reproductive. Everyone knows reproductive organs equals sex organ. Correct. Some women cannot have children. They do not have ovaries. They don't have some reproductive.
Literally,
they still got a pussy. They still got a pussy. Some men can't produce kids. We all got cocks. Newsflash.
He never said though, too. Like he never said that the ability to reproduce made somebody a woman. He said that they had female reproductive parts.
Female sex organs. They got a pussy, right?
Maybe it doesn't have those organs that you're talking about that are reproductive organs.
I have answered the question. You stood up here and said trans women are women.
Yes.
Tell me what you mean. What is a woman?
Womanhood is something that, just as Ethan explained, I cannot define because I am not
But
myself.
you used the word. So what did you mean when you said trans women are women if you don't know what it means?
Right. So here's the thing. So I do not define what a woman is because I do not identify as a woman. Womanhood is something that is an umbrella term.
Go back to his fucking face when he says that too. Or says that to him, dude. Look at this.
I have answered the question.
Yeah, wait.
You stood up here and said trans women are women.
Yes.
Tell me what you mean. What is a woman?
Womanhood is something that, just as Ethan explained, I cannot define because I am not
But
myself.
You used the word. So what did you mean when you said
that guy?
No. Keep going.
If you don't know
What's the bearded guy?
So
I guess
do
they all have
not
beards.
define what a woman is because I do not identify as a woman.
This guy. Look at that. That looks like he just fucking slapped him over the face with his balls. You know what I mean? And like he just answered that by just whipping his dick out and slapping him over the face with it. He's just like, what?
Only a woman can define what a woman is, but also I don't know how to define a woman.
Yeah,
so no one can define what a woman is.
Only a rapist can declare what a rapist is, dude. If you're not a rapist, you don't get to say what a rapist is.
Right, yeah. That's how stupid this sounds.
Womanhood is something that is an umbrella term. It includes people
that describes what?
People who identify as a woman.
Identify as what?
As a woman.
What is that?
Was to each their own. Each woman, each man, each person is going to have a different relation with their own gender identity and define it differently.
See, you can tell someone's trying to, so what's the term gaslighting? Someone's being intellectually dishonest and full of shit when they're just talking in circles. Because you ever get on the phone with like a call center and a customer service and you can tell this person clearly just wants to frustrate you until you get off the phone. That's what they're doing. The goal is they don't have an argument. There's no point to be made. So they just they talk in circles and they try to get super technical about it until it means absolutely nothing. And it just frustrates the other person is saying, you know what, this isn't worth my time. And that's how they're taught to do it online.
Here's a good definition for man or woman. If you are a woman, a biological woman, you have your cells have XX chromosomes. If you are a biological man, XY. Why? Why is that a woman? Because they have those chromosomes.
It's the chromosome.
Because they have those chromosomes.
Yeah.
That's a pretty objective fucking basis of it that you cannot like.
No, it's a very simple answer.
Yeah.
It's not like it's this complex thing like carbon emissions and weighing the balance of the effect on the economy versus the effect on the environment. It is a yes or no black and white issue.
Like no matter what your opinion is, like you either have those chromosomes or you either have XY or XX. That's your opinion doesn't change that, dude.
Exactly.
It's literally the Ben Shapiro, like facts and logic do not care about your opinion.
And you know how much we don't like Ben Shapiro on this show. We make fun of Ben Shapiro all the time.
You know how little of high regard. Like we're not Ben Shapiro stands.
Any of those political grifters I don't like, but this guy. This guy's much less
not like Ben Shapiro, but like I'm not a Ben Shapiro stan.
No,
you know
there's some people out
over here sucking his dick like
it's
everybody
with them and with him and Candace Owens, and on the left you got Hassan. and Ethan Klein and those guys, they're all fucking grifters, man. Both sides, they're con men that want to make money off you.
Some of the guys are good. There's some guys that are
No, I'm kidding.
No, there's some of them. I mean, like I generally think like the bigger that your audience is, the more it corrupts you when it comes to like your.
I think
if you're a political person. So
I watched this Matt Walsh guy. You guys could. He's actually fairly reasonable. He's a conservative, but he's not like an obnoxious conservative. Like I've watched. He's a fairly reasonable person.
That this opinion makes you conservative too, dude. Like,
yeah. Well, this is just the one that this is just his hill. Like he's got a daily podcast. He talks about everything like war, economy, stuff like that. I mean, this is just the one that's blown him up. So here we go.
And so trans women are women too.
Okay.
Oh,
it's called a hometown crowd. We know what it is.
You know what that is? That's me. That's not even that loud of a fucking crowd.
Hold on, he looks Italian in this picture. Look at.
No, go back to the clapping, because if you see the computer monitors back there, only like 40% of the monitors are clapping.
Yeah.
Each man, each person is going to have a different relation with their own gender identity and define it differently. And so trans women are women too.
Look at the monitors.
Yeah, there's like 3 of them. It's like 3 of them. You can. What's funny is you look at all the black people on there, and they're like, "What the fuck is this dude talking about?" It is a white person thing.
Yeah, they're like motherfucking white people.
That's what it's like. What, these fucking white people, man? It's like
white people are crazy.
Next week they should have these people on with Dave Chappelle.
Don't even tell me what the word means, though. So
you
that's
want to
the
reduce
problem.
women, you want to reduce men down to maybe just their genetics, our genitals,
Yes.
our chromosomes, right? That's
Yeah.
what you're saying.
You want to do is
that's what we
what
are
you
at the end of the
you
day.
want to do is appropriate women. You want to appropriate womanhood
Okay.
and turn it into basically a costume that can be worn.
Yes. Oh, it's so funny when he used the fucking left-wing terms against him, dude.
Somebody had
funny.
to appropriation. I know.
Yeah.
Somebody had to fucking say it. Let's Dave Chappelle, J.K. Rowling, and that guy. Let's get them all. It's like that's the fucking the big 3.
It's so funny too, because like J.K. Rowling like is a
hyper liberal,
hyper liberal feminist, dude.
Yeah,
you can't believe you really think that's hard that for her to fucking sit there and let like men come into her fucking like her space that she like bases her and probably a lot of her personality on.
Oh,
like,
I can assure you that J.K. Rowling's fucking head explodes every time Ben Shapiro praises her, and I think that's what's hilarious.
Yeah, right.
Because Ben Shapiro stands against everything she stands for, except on this one issue that she has been minimized to. Well, the problem is the left has a purity test, right? The left very much has a purity test. If you want to be associated with it in any way, you have to check every single box. Now, I've said this a lot. I've said this for years. I have views that are very conservative. I have views that are very liberal. I am not comfortable discussing my conservative views around my liberal friends, but I am comfortable discussing my liberal views around my conservative friends, because my conservative friends will say, you know what? You're pro-gay marriage, you're pro-weed, you're pro-abortion, and you're pro easier path to citizenship. We don't agree on those things, but we do agree that the government should be smaller, the taxes should be lower. We believe in gun rights, and we can accept the fact that we don't necessarily agree on everything. We agree on certain things.
I can if I'm talking to my hyper conservative friends about like why we should have like a nationalized healthcare system or something, they're gonna be all fucking defensive and like get all antsy and pantsy about it.
I guess it depends. If it's like an old school conservative, I have that. But with newer conservatives, I basically narrow it down to 2 things. I'm like, look, man, the government's going to take 25 to 30% of your paycheck no matter what, right? Mm-hmm. That's just going to happen. Would you rather they spend that money going to war in Ukraine, or giving that mom that has 2 kids and just, her husband died or whatever, giving her health care so she doesn't have to go in debt when she gets cancer? If someone answers, "Oh, I would rather go to war," then it's not someone who's worth talking to, man. It's a fucking moron.
Because it's hard to talk to like the conservative, and this is from personal experience, because I'm like you, like me and Caleb. That's why me and Caleb I think are really good friends, is because we both have We're very bipartisan on most shit. I think.
Nonpartisan.
Not nonpartisan, not bipartisan.
Yeah.
So, because I know a lot of libertarian people through Caleb. So, like, if I were to go up and discuss with them, they even concept that big fat corporations are more evil than any kind of government are. Like, you know what I mean, and more dangerous. It's like, you know what I mean, like.
Yeah.
So I think it's on both sides.
I hate corporations and government equally. You'd think more, and I feel like most Americans are on our side. It's just
I feel like you should not like corporations more, because at least in our government, conceptually, we vote our representatives, whereas in a corporation, dude, you don't have any fucking say on any kind of people in there. You know what I mean?
The governments are usually owned by these corporations.
Exactly.
It's like I tell my libertarian friends this too, and I'm like, look, man, I'm with you. Let's get rid of all taxes. But you know what? We're not going to be able to do that tomorrow. And even if we could, it would be a terrible idea. You know what I mean? Well, think about it like from this perspective. You have an alcoholic, right? Someone who they've killed a bottle of Jack Daniels every day for fucking the last 20 years of their life. If you take that liquor from them and say you can't have a drink, and you lock them up and tell them they can't have any alcohol, they're going to fucking die. They can't do it. They're going to go through withdrawals. They're going to die. You have to wean them off liquor the same way you have to wean the United States population off taxes. If you really want to see a stateless society or a tax-free society or whatever, you can't just make it all go away tonight. Right now, yes, let's fight for lower taxes. Let's argue. Let's advocate for this kind of shit right now. If the government's going to take 28% of your paycheck every 2 weeks, what would you rather have that go to? Perpetual war or healthcare for poor people? I think it's an easy fucking decision. Even if it's shitty healthcare, you can keep your private healthcare system. All they're saying is let's add a public option. That's anyone that wants a completely nationalized healthcare system is an idiot. That's a moron. You keep your private healthcare. I probably would. I don't think government-run healthcare is that great. But at the same time, it's better than $70,000 in debt because you broke your arm. You know,
it's not really government health care, because the government isn't being the doctors. It's government insurance.
It's insurance.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's a pretty
Medicare.
Yeah, that's a pretty big thing that you have to clarify.
The system would stay private. Not everyone is going to go on it. People are willing to pay for quality. If you're willing to pay for quality, then pay for it. That's fine. No one's saying it's not like your private insurance that you go, oh yeah, get it through your employer. It's like, for one, not every employer does that. So you're basically just telling the people that own small businesses to get fucked. Go fuck themselves.
Because for one, if you're gonna, and even still,
or if you're a contractor,
they still take out a ton of your fucking paycheck for that.
Contractors don't get it either. Contractors, musicians, comedians don't get health.
Yeah, so anybody in entertainment or art or anything like that, or in a lot, these are small business owners.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The guy that fucking owns the lawnscaping company that fucking cuts the lawn at, you know what I mean, in your fucking neighbor's house. Like, dude, he doesn't have insurance. Like,
exactly. That's exactly it. Well, we just did an hour, close to one. I think my girl brought dinner home like 30 minutes ago.
Well,
I'm going to
hold
need
you from that, dude.
A hospital visit if I don't get out there so she can eat. So let's take it easy on
your private insurance agency is going to charge you 45% of your fucking annual income instead of your monthly paycheck, like the fucking government does.
Yep.
Big evil government, but fucking
nope. The insurance companies are our friend.
Angels, dude. They got a cross on their fucking logo, dude. Angels, dude.
Hey man, State Farm is your friend, okay? All right. Peace the fuck out. This has been Bread Circuses. Promo code BREAD bread for tickets, $2 off. $2 or $3 off.
Caleb Salvatore.
Yeah, you can get. Well, that's it. We'll talk about that later. That's the OnlyFans account. But yeah, you get for BREAD bread, harmful content comedy. We'll have the link posted in the description. Yeah, check that out. We have been the only non-gravity podcast on the internet.
That's right. Gravity is fucking fake, bitches.
Peace out, y'all.
Deuce.